How many of you have Googled something today? Shame on all of you. Google is the new face of corporate America. And by that, I mean the political figure of our fat Uncle Pennybags from Monopoly, who's smoking a cigar and stepping on poor people in order to make his profit. In order to understand my beef with Google, you first need to understand that Google has purchased YouTube for $5 billion. I previously used to have a YouTube account that ran from May 2011 to August 2014, but I was banned. I'll get to that in a minute. But first, if you're interested, you can check out my previously uploaded videos at dailymotion.com/gamingtop10. Now, before I talk about why I was banned, I also want to talk about what started my hatred of the company Google. You see, on YouTube, they have copyrighted systems where any company that believes that that you put footage that they own into your video, they can claim it, and Google will take it down, almost no questions asked. So my most popular video of all time, the top 10 worst gaming cliches, received in November of 2013 a copyright claim from a company named Zodiac Active, believing that they own the footage to a video game called Super Smash Bros. Brawl. The problem with this is, aside from fair use laws, which say as long as I'm commentating over the footage I can do whatever I want with it, Zodiac Active doesn't even own the footage to Super Smash Bros. Brawl in the first place. Nintendo of Japan owns it, not Zodiac Active of South America. So I sent in a counter-copyright notification that said fair use and they don't even own it. Within a day, Zodiac Active repealed its ban and my video was back up. However, the ads that I had on it were removed. So I applied to have the ads back on again, and if you read the email that I received, it said, "We now believe you do not own the rights to this content in the video, so we are permanently preventing it from being monetized." As my most popular video, it was giving me about $44 a month in the mail, and now it wasn't anymore because Google believed in a claim that was as baseless as saying the sky is green. Now, why I got banned was on April Fools of 2013, I released a video called The Top 10 Best Episodes of SpongeBob SquarePants. Viacom owns footage of SpongeBob, and they are very strict on their copyright with that. For some reason, Google allows companies to make a new claim on previously resolved videos every 6 months. So, this was the third time I received the claim on this exact video, my second most popular one. And for some reason, this time it went straight to the highest level. My account was severely crippled, and I received a copyright strike. If you receive 3 copyright strikes, you are permanently banned. And it says to avoid that from happening, please don't upload videos that contain copyrighted content that you aren't allowed to use. This is implying that I just uploaded a footage of SpongeBob directly, like a full episode. It reminds me a lot of what Eric Schmidt, former CEO of Google, once said to CNN in an interview about privacy. If you don't want people to know what you're doing, you really shouldn't be doing it in the first place. And that's just plain victim blaming. So I put in a copyright counter notification talking about fair use and so forth, and they said within 10 days, I will receive, if nothing happens, the video will go back up, no problem. In that time, I get banned from YouTube because they say I violated the terms of service. This is an issue for me that I believe Viacom has pulled some strings to get me permanently banned, because if you go to any of my other videos on YouTube, it says you can't see them because I am banned from YouTube, but if you decide to go to the SpongeBob one, it says you can't see it because the copyright claim is still on there, when it would have easily expired in mid-August by now. So I wanted to talk to a human at Google about this, and I know their phone support is terrible. You could spend 4 hours being told your call is important to you over and over again before your phone dies from lack of battery. So I researched and found out the best time to call Google is at 9 a.m. So I called them, and within 30 minutes I got a breathy voice on the phone saying that they don't have phone support. So they hired a guy to do phone support to tell people they don't have phone support. But they did say you can check out the support forum on YouTube, the YouTube phone support forum, where you can talk to people that are volunteers. And that makes no sense. No company should ever have their support be completely volunteers. If you were a surgeon, you wouldn't pull a random person off the street to help you hand medical supplies, would you? But I had nothing to lose, really, so I posted there and talked about how I didn't violate the terms of service. For starters, I didn't upload child abuse, didn't upload pornography, and I certainly did not sell access to YouTube. Oh, what's going on? Okay, ignoring this. I'm going over the time limit now, I don't care. Okay, so they assumed, in a very accusatory tone, that I did do something because YouTube banned me. As if Google is this faceless corporation that is completely infallible, and that I must have done something terribly wrong in order to be banned right away with no warning. I put a response that said, thanks for telling me something I already knew as if I didn't know it and wouldn't be here otherwise. I bet you're great at parties. So Google has a general appeals form for different videos, and for different products. And I put one saying, this must be a mistake, I was banned from YouTube and not given a reason. Please correct it. But 3 months passed, I got no response. So I decided, I am going to send in another one. And this time I said, look, if you're not going to restore my account, the very least you could do is tell me what I did that was so wrong I was banned like that. And I received this response, YTLESC, sincerely YouTube. I couldn't figure out what that means, so I came up with my own definition. You're too little, evade supported customer. Now, a common complaint I hear whenever I bring this up is Google is an internet giant and that it is far too big to have basic human support. They would have way too many problems to deal with. Google is the fastest growing company in human history. In 15 years, they have accumulated a value of $370 billion. And based off what I've read from an accounting textbook, that they have enough cash on hand for an $80 dividend per share, I estimate that they have $5.4 billion of cash on hand. If they wanted to, they could either have automated phone support that actually works, or they could actually hire human beings to help you with your problems. So I've decided that I am going to apply YTLESC to my own ability. This summer, I am going to protest in front of Google headquarters with a picket sign that says #YTLESC, and when asked about it, I will tell people my story, and I am going to encourage people to post on Twitter about their terrible customer support experiences. And just like the guy from United Breaks Guitars, if you want to, you can watch that on a specific video sharing website. I'm going to make this a huge PR issue for Google. Until that day, I'm going to actively limit my use of Google products the way I limit my use of eating eggs. And I'm going to give advice to those who want to be YouTube stars. If you want to become popular on YouTube, do yourself a favor and don't. Google will fight you every step of the way. Mr. Toastmaster.
And I'm going to deactivate the Google account. At your desk are these little ballots. Write little notes to Garrett of what you thought you did well in this speech and what things you could improve upon. And also be specific. Don't be like, oh, your speech was great. Like, well, what do you think about it? Or your speech sucks. Well, don't say that, but what could I do better? Okay. My next speech, My next speaker is Courtney. Her speech is 4 to 6 minutes. And without further ado, I would like to introduce Courtney.
So good evening, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. My name is Courtney, and I will be doing the icebreaker speech, which means that after the end of this speech, you'll know a little bit more about me and my interests and all of that. So I want to start with talking about my first interest, which is crafting. I have always been interested in doing arts and crafts ever since I was little. But I really started getting into knitting in high school. I learned how to knit from a friend, and we just knit scarves and hats and sweaters and blankets and everything. And we actually started a knitting club at our high school, which was very successful. It kind of started a knitting revolution. And one of our teachers actually had to ban knitting from class because people were knitting and they would drop their needles and it would be really loud and distracting. So they had to ban knitting from class. I'm really excited about getting colder so I can start knitting and knitting gifts for friends and things like that. So my next interest is exploring. I like to explore locally but also internationally. I love to go hiking. Oh, by the way, I made this scarf. I like to go hiking all around California and camping. But my bigger interest is actually in traveling internationally. When I was in undergrad, I got a chance to travel in Australia for 6 months, and I got exposed to all different kinds of travelers. Even though Australia is pretty similar to us, there's a lot of people who come and visit from other countries, so I got to meet a whole bunch of travelers. I got to go to school there, learn a different culture, try their weird foods, and it was really fun. But I have actually been going to South America for the past 4 years. I got to go to Peru last summer for 2 months, and then I was in Ecuador in 2009. And I wanted to show you a little souvenir I got in Ecuador. These are the indigenous people of Ecuador. They live in the mountains, and they have a whole bunch of different arts and crafts, places to buy things. So this is one of the things that I bought there. And there have been challenges with traveling, though. I actually got bit by a dog in Ecuador while I was riding a bike with a friend. A dog came from behind a truck and bit my leg. I had to go back to the U.S. to get rabies shots because I hadn't gotten rabies shots. But I did return to finish my trip, and I'm here to tell the story. Coincidentally, I got bit by a dog in Peru as well. But it didn't break the skin, and I already had my rabies shot, so I was okay. But I will still continue to travel and learn about different food and different cultures and practice Spanish. I'm learning Spanish, so. And then my final interest is actually farming, and these are my farming clippers. After undergraduate, I studied environmental studies, and I got really interested in food production and food access. So I moved to Sonoma, and I did a 3-month internship on a farm, and I continued to work there for a year. And then I worked at a different farm for about 3 years, so I have 4 years of farming experience. So a day in the life of a farmer basically is waking up at 5 a.m., getting out in the field, starting to pick whatever's usually lettuce in the morning so it doesn't wilt by the afternoon, and then just doing whatever needs to be done on the farm. It's 10-hour days, it's really long, but it was also really rewarding. I got to meet a lot of different people and spend a lot of time with them because we were out in the field for so long. I worked with a field crew of about 5 people, and they all spoke Spanish, so I got to learn Spanish, and I learned their lives and why they came. Most of them came from Mexico or South America, and that's actually what got me back to school for social work. I'm really interested in working in some capacity with farm workers and trying to get more services to the farm worker community because they really need the services and they're a really vibrant community. So that's kind of my full circle of how I got to Sacramento for social work. And now you know a few interests of mine: crafting, traveling, and farming. So thank you.